my own problems, not my own depression, my own sadness. You free yourself from all those things on the Shabbat day. You're not supposed to carry any burden. That includes psychological burden on the Shabbat day. It's a day of rejoicing. It's a day of resting. It's a day to baptize yourself in the word of Yahweh. To do his will. All right, go ahead, Mario. Chapter 16, verse 11. Exodus chapter 16, verse 11. Exodus chapter 16, verse 11. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, I have heard the murmuring of the children of Yeshua speak unto them, saying, at even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning the food of bread. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh your own type. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that was like that way was gone up upon the face of the wilderness, that lay small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost of the ground. And the children of Yeshua saw it. They said one to another, they wished to know what it was. So man is like, what is it?
Mana. What's this?
This is the bread which Yahweh hath given you to eat. This is the finger which Yahweh hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, right? And owner for every man, according to the number of your curses. Take ye every man for them. Take ye every man for them, which are in his tents.
Shalom, family. Shalom. Yahweh Shamar. I'll Athan. All right. I don't know if you can tell, but what we have going on now is in the background. I'm going to start a screen share real quick, and then start our reading. So, Bible choir. All right.
They got it every man according to his eating.
All right. So, we're going to start our screen share. And Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. All praise. Shabbat Shalom. All praise. All right. So this is my Facebook right here. And we are currently listening to this elder right here. His name is Parazah Yasha Allah, Oliver Sr. son. All right. So this is who we're currently listening to teaching. Okay. So when you get a chance, please go to facebook.com/Parazah Yasha Allah.Oliver son. All right. The scriptures get to know those without labor amongst, and I think it's it's meat for you all to learn and get to know your elders. I'm grateful enough that the Most High allowed me to be raised with my Supreme when I came into the truth under the same elders, and under those elders they introduced me to different elders. I never jumped around. It's like here, there, here, there, here, there. I've always been firm, and that's the glory of the Most High. So let me go ahead and copy the link. All right, let me cut this. All right, we're going to close that. And I'm going to put this here. Yahweh Shamar Ilatah. Hallelujah. All praise. All praise. All right, so I'm going to put this link up here. All right, very beautiful. Mashpachah. All right. Okay. So here's the Facebook link, all right, for Zaquan Parazah. If you're a man that's in the truth, a man of Israel, all right, if you have a rib, if you have a family member, sisters, daughters, that you would like to learn, them to learn about the truth, then that's a very good brother with his rib who has been teaching in many years. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to turn the volume down. All right, let me turn the volume down on the brother teaching. I didn't want to disrupt his Shabbat class that he was holding, so I didn't go into the Shabbat convocation with them while they were teaching because I actually stayed up pretty late. So I woke up like around 2. I heard the shofar. They was blowing the shofar, and I was like, I felt like crisscross. I missed the bus, and that was something I will never, ever, ever do again. You remember that? I missed the bus. Yeah. So by the time I woke up, they were already started on the Shabbat convocation. You can see I still got my nighttime hair. Let me see if this my Hebrew comb over. Boy, do I need my locks done. What is sideways? No. All right, here we go. Got the part. That's crazy. I got the fro part and the locks all put together. Where they do that at? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start on this week's Shabbat Torah portion reading. Rashwan and Rob, if you don't mind, please post this week's Torah portion. All right, I know we're going to be starting in the book of Exodus. We're going to start with Exodus chapter 13. And from Exodus chapter 13, we're going to start reading through, I believe, chapter 17, starting at 16. All right, so we're going to put in Exodus chapter 13. And we're going to start at chapter 13, verse 17. All right. I had a very good night or very good morning. I took the time to sleep upstairs where I currently am now. I put this bed here. So I wanted to see what it would feel like to sleep upstairs. And I made it to where I slept in kind of uncomfortable, position. I just had a little mat that I was laying on. I stayed up till the sun came up. And after the sun came up, I was like, oh, this ain't too bad. I can do this. So I've done it for quite some time. All right. I had a real delusional video moment that I did last night. So if anybody caught that video, which is extra damn late, and it seemed like I was bugging, yeah, I was super sleepy. I was in that goofy, sleepy state. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on this week's Torah portion reading. And then Rashwan, if you don't mind, please post this week's Torah portion. So if you're watching, I'm not going to do a lot of breakdown. I'm going to read it kind of straight through to the best of my ability without trying to explain too much. Say the word of the Most High be heard. And once you get that Torah portion, put it up here in the room so I can go ahead and click in, make it acceptable to everybody else, accessible to everybody else. All right, so let's get started. We are now screen sharing. We'll be starting with the book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse 17. And we see what? It's Alahaya leads the people. So this is about our Exodus. This is about us coming about Matazadium. So everybody needs to get ready, prepare your minds. It might be time for you to get ready to start evacuating. All right. Exodus chapter 13, verse 7. And it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Alahaya led them through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, for Alahaya said, least peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt. One moment, I'm going to get my study reading music. It's a very beautiful group of brothers. It's called the Bayman Brothers. I really enjoy their music. It's good study music to me. All right. I don't know why I like reading to these brothers, but I've been listening to them for a long time. All right. And it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go and led them not through a way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For Alahaya said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Matazadium. But Alahaya led the people about throughout the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up hardness out of the land of Egypt. And Masha took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn to Jacob, saying, I will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away hence with you. And they took their journey from Succoth and to Etham in the edge of the wilderness, and Yahweh went before them by pillar went before them by day in a pillar, and a cloud to lead them the way, and the night in the pillar of fire, and gave them light to go by day and night. I'm going to read verse 21 again. And Yahweh went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud, and he led them and by night and fire he gave them light to go by day and night. Verse 22, he took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. Now, this is a very short read of this chapter because we started at verse 17. All right, I want everybody to repeat after me. Whenever we finish, we always say the same things. We say, Kala Shara, Bar Yahweh, Na'aisha, Wanashamai. Kalashara, Debar Yahweh Na'isha, Wanashamai, which means all that the Lord has said will we do and hear. This is another one of our decrees that we said from our grandparents. Our grandparents said, all that the Most High said will we do and hear. So we say the same things. Whenever we read the law of the Most High and we come to the end of the chapter, repeat after me and say the same declaration your grandparents said. All that the Most High said will we do and hear. So in the last chapter, real quickly, what we've seen, that it was time for the children of Israel to leave out of Mizraim. It was time for us to leave out of Egypt. As we were leaving out of Egypt, what happened was, amazingly, the Most High said, I'm not going to take them through the land of Canaan, even though it was close. The land of Canaan would have been easy for us to travel through, but we would have had to fight. We had to go through wars. So the Most High said, I'm not going to take them that way unless they have to fight and then they get comfortable and want to go back to Egypt. So he took us up through a rough way to get us out of the land of Egypt until he finally brought us to the coast, to a beach. When he brought us to the beach, that's when the troubles begin with Mashah. Chapter 14, and it reads, and Yahweh spake unto Mashah, saying, the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp toward Roth, between Migdal and the sea, over against Zephon. Before it shall ye encamp by the sea. And Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land, the wilderness has shut them in. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, that the Egyptians may know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. And it was told to the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants were turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this? I apologize, but I had to get it out. And it was told to the king of Egypt and the people that the people fled. We're in verse 5. And the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? They made ready his chariot and took people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captains over every one of them. And Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with an high hand, and he pursued after them all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea beside Baal-Zephon. I want to look these two words up in Hebrew, but I'm going to do it later. Right here, we come to it. Pilcrow, or what's called a capital. All right, a pilcrow capital, it shows you when the next part of a sentence is about to start. If you ever read the Bible and you see that symbol, it's telling you that another sentence or another subject is about to come up. So let me get that real quick. As it pulls up, I'll just show it to you later. All right. And Pharaoh denied, and the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. Yes, us, we, the Israelites, we were afraid. And the children of Israel cried unto Yahweh, and they said unto Mashah, because there was no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Mizraim? Verse 12. Is it not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been for us to serve the Egyptians, and that we should die in the wilderness. And Mashah said to people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahweh, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. I'm going to put this on a new page because that saying, this is the example that Moses is talking about, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, where it says, ye shall go to Egypt again, and ye shall see, and ye shall go to Egypt, which is by the way that thou shalt see it no more again. When Mashah said, by the way thereof thou shalt see it no more again, he's talking about this verse, which is Exodus chapter 15, verse 13. That's not a verse saying that we would not see our land again. So when you see brothers out street teaching And they say, you see that right there? That means you would never see home again. That's not what that verse means. It literally means that Masha was just reminding us that he was telling us we'll never see the Egyptians again. In Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, he's saying that you will see these Egyptians again. All right. So, verse 14, if you didn't get that, then say you didn't get it, and I'll explain to you after I finish in this chapter. If in this chapter you would like to have me explain to you after I finish it, put a message on the comment board and read it afterwards. I'll explain it to you afterwards. Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. And Yahweh shall fight for you, and he shall hold your peace. And Yahweh said unto Masha, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward, but lift thou up thy rod. This is something that's very important. Masha's rod. Everybody, when you get a chance, I want you to do a brief study on Masha rod, the rod of Moses, the staff of Moses. Tell me what type of interesting information you find out, because I found out some pretty interesting stuff. All right, verse 16. But lift thou thy rod and stretch out thy hand over the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground throughout the midst of the sea. And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will give me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his hosts, and upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. Y'all see it? Remember I said this symbol was the pill crow or the compass. All right, so look at this real quick. I'm going to open up this window. All right, this is called the pill crow. It is called a paragraph mark, paragraph sign, paraph, alina. All right, Latin line, alina of the line, or blind P. It's typographical character marking the start of a paragraph. All right. So whenever you see this symbol in your Bible, it's letting you know that it's the start of a different paragraph. All right. So I just want to bring that forward so everybody can see it. Whenever you see a crow at the beginning of the verse, it lets you know that you're about to start a different paragraph. Now, here's something very interesting in the book of Exodus 14, verse 19. It reads that the angel of Allah. I'll leave it up to you to investigate who is the angel of the Allah. All right. He's referenced many times in the so-called Old Testament. I'm here to tell you right now that this is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, where it says, and the angel of God. Could be any angel, but I like to specifically say it's Yahweh Shai. Why? Because it references many different locations, many different times. And the angel of Allah went before the camp of Israel. See the word right here? It says camp. So this is the scripture that I like to use whenever Israelites are talking about camp. These camp niggas and niggas from a camp, and I'll never do a camp. You sound stupid. And your elder never told you to not speak against camp. Whenever you're speaking against camp, you're talking against the whole nationality of the children of Israel. You are supposed to be a part of a camp. This doesn't mean you have to be a part of any specific group that calls themselves, a specific school, body, congregation, because not there's no definition of camp. The original definition of camp is not what old school One West brothers used to go and hold posts. They were saying that they were camp based off of the word army. So I'll explain that to you there. So we'll come back to this one later. If anybody has any questions on the word camp, or if anybody has discrepancies with the word camp, or if you like to speak against camps, this verse right here and many others will help show you that the word camp means our entire nationality. Exodus chapter 14, verse 19. And the angel of Allah went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went before their face and stood behind them. That verse right there is beautiful. It means that the Most High, he sent his son, once again, as always, to protect us. He put his pillar in front of us and showed us where to go. And then he went and came behind us. Look at this. And what was it? It was the pillar. It was the angel of the Most High. That's what Yahweh protected us in the Old Testament, our whole camp. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And there was a cloud of darkness. And remember, we made out that terrifying darkness. And it became a cloud of darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these. So we had light, but they was in that terrible darkness. And that the one came not near the other all the night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Yashar'el went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground, and the waters are a wall unto them on the right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, even Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning watch, Yahweh look at this. This is very terrifying, okay? I'm going to put this verse over here too, because this is another verse that shows that the Most High showed his power, all right? Not just making the walls, which is incredible, it's just not incredible, it's amazing in itself. Not just making the walls of the sea to go up side by side to where you can actually see and walk past. It says that the walls were congealed. They were like jelly, all right? You wasn't going to bust it like a ball, it was like jelly, okay? Flavius Josephus tells us that it was a wall that was congealed in the heart of the sea, which means the deepest parts. We got to see monsters. We might have seen mermaids. I don't know. But we did see everything that was in the sea. I was able to be seen. All right. Terrifying monsters on both sides. That's kind of why I don't like aquariums, because it reminds me of that. Yeah. And it came to pass that on the morning watch, Yahweh, look at this, looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire of the cloud. Look at this, and troubled the host of the Egyptians. This means they literally seen something which was from the Most High, and it terrified them. All right, this is him being up in the clouds, down terrified. I'll explain later. If you have any questions, just ask in the comment post. When I go to, I'll read it. Verse 25. And took off their chariot wheels, and they drave heavily. So the Egyptians said, let us flee from the, look at this, let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yahweh frighteneth for them against the Egyptians. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, stretch out thy hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots and upon the horsemen. And Moshe stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength. And when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and Yahweh overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea, and the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen, and all of the hosts of Pharaoh that came to the sea after them, there remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And Yahweh saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. Isn't that wonderful? And Israel saw that great work which Yahweh did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared Yahweh and believed Yahweh and his servant Moses. Repeat after me. Call out Shirah, the bar Yahweh, Na'isha, Wana Shemai. All that Yahweh has said will we do and hear. So the scripture says, all that the Most High said will we do and hear. This was a pledge of allegiance that our grandparents said whenever it was time for us to finish reading the scriptures. We would always say, whatever the Most High said will we do and hear. I want to give a shalom to Barry Jones. All right, Most High bless you, keep you, make his face to shine upon you. Alak Yah Kaler. What's Alak Yah Kaler? If you don't mind, Barry Jones, I'd like you to post that up here and teach us what that means. All right. No offense, not coming against you, anything like that. Just, I see that you're speaking the language. I'd like for you to repeat that language and teach us what you're saying. All right. Very grateful. And also, there's a sister on here, very beautiful sister, Rashwana Rob, says, posted twice. Can you see it? No, we cannot see it. All right. So if you have this story portion, if you can't post, and to Barry Jones, once again, it looks like Allah. Alak Yah Kalir. Alak Yah Kalir. What does Alak Yah Kalir mean, Barry? All right. So if anybody has any questions on that specific chapter or any verses in it, please let me know. Let's continue reading. This is the song of Moses, which is a very beautiful song. I actually did a rendition of it for the music group that I'm with called MIMG. It's called Moses Song. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 1. Keep up with us, and it reads, And Moshe and the children of Israel sang unto Yahweh, and spake, saying, I will sing unto Yahweh, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he thrown into the sea. And Yahweh, excuse me, let me, I don't think I turned back on the screen share. I apologize. Let me turn back on the screen share. Oh, that's why I was waiting for Barry Jones to let me know what that phrase was that he said. Okay, Barry, I respect you. Again, you know, not challenging you, just asking. All right. So let's get back to reading. All right. So Exodus chapter 14. I'm sorry, Exodus chapter 15 should be where we are now. Well, 15, 14, start at 13, 14. Removed behind them in the pillar. Oh, that was one of the ones that I pulled up. We're right here. All right, so Exodus chapter 15, verse 1. It's called the Song of Moses. Every man, woman, and child of Israel should know this. Women should know it because the women were in front of us singing this song, and this was a call and response song. You know, you say, the Lord is good, and everybody say, the Lord is good. See, it was a call and response song. So call and response came from us. And sang Moshe and the children of Israel this song unto Yahweh, spake, saying, I will sing unto Yahweh, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and the rider have been thrown into the sea. Yahweh is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. He is my Alahaya. I will prepare him a habitation, my father's power, and I will exalt him. Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his host hath he cast into the sea. His chosen captain also are drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them. They sank into the bottom of a stone. The right hand, O Yahweh, thy right hand, O Yahweh, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Yahweh, has dashed in pieces the enemy. And in the greatness of thine excellency, thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee. Thou sentest forth thy wrath, which consumeth them as stubble. And with the blast of thy nostrils, the waters were gathered together. The flood stood upright as a heap, and the depths were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword. My hand shall destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind and covered them, and they sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like thee, O Yahweh, among all powers? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praise, doing wonders? Thou stretchest out thy right hand, the earth was swallowed. The earth swallowed them. Verse 13. Thou in thy mercy has led forth the people which thou hast redeemed. Thou hast guided them in my strength, in thy strength unto thy holy habitation. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold of the inhabitants of Palestine. Those are the Arabs. The dukes of Edom are the Europeans, shall be amazed. The mighty of Moab, those are the Chinese. Trembling shall take hold upon them, and all the inhabitants of Canaan, those are the Africans, shall melt away. Fear and dread shall fall upon them by greatness of thine arm. They shall be still as a stone till thy people pass over. O Yahweh, till the people pass over which thou hast purchased. Thou shalt bring them in and plant them in the mountain of thine inheritance, in the place, O Yahweh, which thou hast made for thee to dwell in the sanctuary, O Ahia, which thy hands have established. Yahweh shall reign forever and ever. For the horse and Pharaoh went in with his chariots, with his horsemen into the sea. And Yahweh brought again the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Israel went on dry land in the midst of the sea. And Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after with timbrels and with dances. I can't see the women. I can't wait until the women of my family get off of their high horses, become humble, become one unit, working in meekness, surrendering all things, and praising the Most High together. They do things, but I want more. I want to see the women of my family do more so they can encourage other women to do more. And I don't care if you personally think that I'm attacking, talking bad, belittling. I am not. I am using my family as an example. Once the women of my household first, my brothers, my sisters, my ribs, my nieces, my daughters, once them all start working together even more so, it'll encourage other Israelite women to do so. And I personally believe every Israelite congregation should start to do songs of praise. Maybe we start investing in instruments. That's a great idea. I'm with that. I think matter of fact, I want each one of my household to get them a tambourine. Exodus chapter 15, verse 21. And Miriam answered them, saying, Sing ye unto Yahweh, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath been thrown into the sea. So Moshe brought Israel from the sea of reeds, the Red Sea, and they went to the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness and found the water. And they came to Mara'ah, and they went, I should have known, Mara'ah, it means bitter. So if there's any sister who go by the terminology of Mara'ah, that relates to the name bitterness. All right. And when they came to Mara'ah, they could not drink of the waters of Mara'ah. That makes a lot of sense, for they were bitter. That makes even more sense. Therefore, the name of it was called Mara'ah. And the people murmured against Mara'ah, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried to Yahweh, and Yahweh showed him a tree, which, let me get this one out. I'm going to show y'all this one later. And they cried unto Yahweh, and Yahweh showed them a tree which he had cast into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and the ordinance, and there he provided for them. He said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Yahweh the Elohim, and will do that which is right in his sight, then I will give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes, and I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I found the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh that killeth thee. This word right here, diseases, also goes to the word curse. All right, so cancer is a plague, it's a curse. It's not just a disease, it just means you have something unexplainable. Right, usually prayer and fasting, entreat the Most High. If you are a high mucusy person, all right, a lot of mucus will cause sickness and disease, but above that, sin will cause sickness and disease. But the Most High tells us right here, if we obey his commandments, that he will keep us safe from the diseases, curses that he put upon the Egyptians. He says, For I am Yahweh that killeth thee. And they came to Elim, where the 12 wells, where there are 12 wells of water, and 70 palms, and they encamped there in the waters. All right. We just finished reading the book of Exodus, chapter 15. Please repeat after me. Kala Shara, Debar Yahweh, Na'isha, Wanashamai. All that Yahweh has said, will we do and hear. All praise the Most High. Barry Jones, I appreciate you. Salute, no rush to you. When you get a chance, let me know what the word means, and then that way you could be edifying me. And then the water to our sister Rashbana Rob, who posted this week's Torah portion, which is the book of Exodus, chapter 13, through the book of Exodus, chapter 17. Okay, so we're currently in the book of Exodus, chapter 16 now. All right, we're going to read that, and we're going to stop at chapter 17, verse 16. If it seems like I'm reading fast, it's because I am. All right, what I want to do is read and then give the explanation. All right, my first objective is for everybody to hear the Torah. The book of Exodus, chapter 16, verse 1, and it reads, And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month, after their departing out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and Aharon in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to the Most High we had died in land, we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots. That means when we had toilets. We were complaining. The flesh pots were toilets. It's a place where you would vomit, or you would let out your flesh. All right. When we sat by flesh pots, we had refrigerators, stoves, TVs, internet, Wi-Fi, Facebook. All right. and we eat bread to the full, for ye have brought us forth into the wilderness to kill us whole assembly with hunger. What a disgraceful thing to say. Then said Yahweh unto Moshe, behold, I will rain bread for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, and I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or not. And pass that on the 6th day, they shall prepare it, which they shall bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. All right, I'll bring that point out later. And Moshe said to Aharon, Moshe and Aharon said unto all the children of Israel, at even ye shall know that Yahweh hath brought you from out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning ye shall see the glory of Yahweh, that he heareth your murmurings against Yahweh. And what are we that ye murmur against us? And Moshe said, this shall be when Yahweh shall be in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to your full, and that Yahweh heareth your murmurings, you murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurs are not against us, but are against the Most High, Yahweh. And Moshe said unto Aharon, say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before Yahweh, for he hath heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness. Behold, the glory of Yahweh appeared as a cloud. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them again, saying, at even ye shall eat flesh. In the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I, Yahweh, am your power. This is where the Most High gave us chicken and a biscuit. All right, this is where Negroes get chicken and a biscuit from. All right, verse 13. And it came to pass at even that quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew round about the host. And when the dew was laid, and when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness, there lay a small round thing, as small as a froth, on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna. The word manna is like saying maza, manna. What's this? That's like saying maza. What is this? Maza. Maza. What is it? It's good. So manna is like saying, what's this? All right. For they wist not what it was. And Moshe said unto them, this is the bread which Yahweh has given you to eat. This is also called angel's bread. All right. In Apocrypha, we'll pull that out later. Exodus chapter 16, verse 16. That's the thing Yahweh hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, and omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man of them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered had nothing over, but he that gathered little had nothing lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And what that means specifically right there is that the Most High divvied this out to make sure we had the same amount. So if I was out there and I was a big old dude and I was like, I'm getting all of this, and somebody else was little, and it's like, but I only got this much. At the end of the day, the Most High did it his way. We all had even amounts. All right. And Moshe said, let no man leave it until the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not until Moshe. But some of them left of it until the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moshe was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass, this means that eating breakfast, we used to eat breakfast before the sun came up. I love reading this word. I learn something every time. Let me get back to this, because when you go to the book of Proverbs chapter 31, it shows that the woman, she got up, let me just read it, because precepts come so fast that I just be like the water Yahweh, and I want to teach y'all on this subject too. So I'll go in honor to Yahweh. Proverbs chapter 31, it tells you that the woman, she got up when the sun came up, and she made breakfast, her and her household and her handmaids. This means that you women are supposed to be having other women to live with you, help you, help each other. The majority of us are in poverty because the Israelite woman don't want to work with nobody else. They think they can do everything on their own, and they can't. You can do some stuff, but you can't do everything. How much more life would you have if you would just share? All right, share and share alike. We struggling because y'all don't want to share. I got a lot to I got a lot to learn. And it came to pass that on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. Why? Because this was on the 6th day. This was the day before the Shabbat. So this scripture right here shows you that on the day of the preparation, which is the 6th day of the week, you're supposed to have double. So you have for Friday and for so-called Saturday, because we don't work on the Shabbat. We ain't buying, selling, or cooking on the Shabbat. All right. We should have all of our stuff done and going into the Shabbat ready to rest. And it came to pass, Exodus chapter 16, verse 22, that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Mashah, and he said unto them, this is that which Yahweh hath said, tomorrow is the rest of the holy Shabbat unto Yahweh. Bake that which ye shall bake today, and seethe it, and seethe what ye will seethe. And that which remaineth over, lay up for you to be kept until the morning. And they laid up until the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither were there any worm therein. And Mashah said, eat that today, for it is the day, for today is the Shabbat unto Yahweh. Today ye shall not find it in the field, which means no working on the Sabbath. Y'all see that? 6 days ye shall gather, but on the 7th day, which is the Shabbat, in it there shall be none. So no working on the Sabbath, Israel. Get all your stuff done on so-called Friday. Don't be weak. Don't be a punk. Man, I praise the Most High. I got some strong sisters. I got some strong women. They go into contracts telling them straight up, I won't be here on Saturday. Well, this contract is mandatory. If you want to work and get 15, 17, 18 an hour, you have to be here on Saturdays. I'll take something else. Pass. Or they'll be like, no, I'll do this. I just won't be here on the Shabbat. All right. And you men of Israel can do it too. Stop punking out. Exodus chapter 16, verse 27. And it came to pass that when there went out some of the people on the 7th day to gather, and they found none. And Yahweh said unto Mashah, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See that Yahweh giveth you Shabbat. Therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days, about every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the Shabbat day. So no working on the Sabbath. All right. So people rested on the Shabbat day. And the house of Yashala called the name thereof manna. So it was like coriander seed white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. And Mashah said, this is the thing which Yahweh commanded. Fill an omer of it to be kept for your generations, that ye may see the bread wherewith ye have, I have fed you in the wilderness, when I have brought you forth out of the land of Egypt. So the Most High commanded us, and Mashah said, this is the thing which Yahweh commanded. We kept a small portion of this manna, all right, so that we can remember how the Most High kept us. And Mashah said unto Aharon, take a pot and put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it before Yahweh to be kept for your generations. And Yahweh commanded Mashah and Aharon laid it before the testimony to be kept. And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years until they came into the land inhabited. They did eat manna until they came into the borders of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is a 10th part of an ephah. Repeat after me. Kasha, Debar Yahweh, Na'isha, Wanashamai. All that Yahweh has said will we do and hear. What you just said was your pledge of allegiance. You just made a decree saying that you will do what the Most High has told you to do. Everything that you heard the Most High said in the Torah, you will do it for yourself. So within that chapter, we just learned how the Most High told us to not work on the Shabbat, how to gather twice as much on the 6th day a week, and all that he showed provision for us. All right. The Most High will always provide for us. All right. So let's get on to reading. We're in the book Exodus chapter 17. We're going to read down to about 16, and then we're going to go to the book of Judges chapter 4. Exodus chapter 17, starting at verse 1. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journey, according to the commandment of Yahweh, and pitched with them. And there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore they did chide against Mashah. Wherefore the children did chide. Chide means to back talk, be talking crazy, wicked, neck rolling. That's called chiding. To talk like a baby, like you, ugh. Therefore the people did chide with Mashah and said, give us water that we may drink. And Mashah said unto the people, why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt Yahweh? And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured against Mashah and said, wherefore is it that thou hast brought us out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? And Mashah cried to Yahweh, saying, what shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. They be almost ready to stone me. And Yahweh said unto Mashah, go on therefore, go on before the people, and take with thee the elders of Israel and thy rod wherein thou smote river, take it in thy hand and go. Behold, I will stand before thee upon the rock in Horeb. Now let me get this one. He says, behold, I will stand before thee, therefore upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall water come out of it, and the people may drink. And Mashah did so in the sight of the elders of Israel, and called the name of that place Mashah and Marabah, because of the chiding of the children of Israel, and because they tempted Yahweh, saying, is this Yahweh among us or not? That's wicked. Verse 8. And Amalek came and fought against them. All right. And Mashah said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of Alahiah in my hand. This is a very powerful statement too. And Joshua said unto Mashah, and Joshua did as Mashah had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Mashah, Aharon, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. It came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed with him. When he let down his hands, Amalek prevailed. But Mashah's hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Haran and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on one side and the other on the other side. Now, if you know who Haran is Aaron. This is the brother of Moses. If you don't know who Hur is, this is the husband of Miriam. Miriam had a husband. His name was Hur. All right. Miriam had a brother. So Mashah's brother and his brother-in-law, they helped him hold up his arms with the rod of Yahweh above his hands. All right. So Mashah's hands, it says they were heavy, so his hands started to come down. So he did this so long, this fight was so long, they put a big boulder under Mashah, and Mashah was able to finally sit down. So once Mashah sit down, his arms started to come down. When his arms started to come down, the Amalekites, which are the European Jewish people today, converts, they fought against us. When Mashah's hands started to come down, they started to win. So what Aaron did was help hold up. Wait, maybe Aaron was on this side. Let's say Aaron was on this side. So Aaron helped hold up Mashah's arm. Hur helped hold up Mashah's arm, right? Held his arms up. And he held the rod of I don't know if he held it straight across or if he just held his hands up like this. I don't know. But whenever his hands came down, we started to lose. As long as his hands stayed up, we won. So that's who Aaron and Hur is. Verse 12, Exodus chapter 17. But Mashah's hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him. And he sat thereon. And Aaron, his brother, and Hur, which was Miriam's husband, his brother-in-law, stayed up his hands, the one on the other side and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Can you imagine that? Man, that's crazy. And Joshua discomforted Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. That's a very good, powerful verse. Mashah's hands up and praise to the Most High until the sun went down. And you got some Negroes, including myself, that are so fat that we can't hold our hands up for at least an hour in prayer. Mashah held his hands up until the sun went down, of course, with help, and he was holding the staff. I got some work to do. We got some work to do, Israel. Verse 13, and Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And Yahweh said unto Mashah, write for this a memorial in the book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Whenever we're talking about Esau being destroyed forever, there's going to be no more. This is who Yahweh is going to destroy. Amalek is one of the children, the descendants of Esau. Okay. So Mount of Esau, Amalek is going to be destroyed forever. This does not mean that every single all Edomites are going to be destroyed as a government rulership that will be destroyed, just like the Most High destroyed us as a government rulership, but he still left a remnant of us. But Amalek is finished. They're never going to rise again. All right. Exodus chapter 17, verse 15. And Mashah built an altar and called the name of it Yahweh Nasai. All right. Yahweh Nasai, Jehovah Nisi. For he said, because Yahweh has sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So this nation is the one that's going to be finished. All right. Repeat after me. Kawashah. Debar Yahweh, Naishah, Wanashmai. All that Yahweh has said will we do and hear. All that the Most High has said will we do and hear. All right, we will keep the Most High's laws and commandments. There's no way around it. All right, we have to be obedient to the Most High as a nation, as the children of Israel. Okay, so if there's any questions pertaining to any of those verses, scriptures, chapters, verse, please let me know. Judges chapter 4, KJV. So that's going to be our next place we're going to go to. We're going to go to the book of Judges chapter 4. And as y'all can see, this is a very quick Torah portion reading. I'm just kind of going through it. I'm going through it kind of swift because I want to be able to, first of all, that people should hear, and then I want to take time to explain later. All right. So Judges chapter 4. All right, we're going to start at where are we at this week's Torah portion? Judges chapter 4. We're going to start at Judges chapter 4, verse 4, and we're going to read through chapter 5, verse 31. All right. So with that being said, there's a lot of juicy information that was brought just in. All right, so let's just recap since we finished the Torah portion. Let's recap. Exodus chapter 15, verse 25. And he cried unto Yahweh and showed him a tree wherein he cast it into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and he proved them. Now, let me explain to you this because you might not have heard this or it might not make sense to you. The Most High took water that was impossible for us to drink because of its bitterness. Very uncomfortable, disgusting water. Well, the Most High made it to where we could have pleasure in it, to where we could drink it, we could be satisfied. I want to let you know there are certain roots, certain plants that have virtues, and these virtues are whatever the Most High made them for, medicinal, whether it be ginger, garlic. There's a specific plant, and you can look this up. It's called licorice root. Licorice root is a very delicious plant. It's actually the plant that's used for whenever they make the licorice candy. You can take a piece of licorice root stick and you can put it in any form of water that you want to. Once you put it in the water will become sweet. The whole container of water will become sweet. You can take that stick of licorice root out, and you can do that until there's no more sweetness in it, which takes a long time. And then once you do that, you can literally take that same stick and you can split it down the middle. You can open it up and you'll see that there's a stem in the middle of licorice root. And once you split it again, you can put that in more water and it'll become sweet. So the Most High has proven itself time and time again. All right. So if you've never heard of licorice root, I'm not talking about tree made the water sweet. So if anybody's interested, there's a very delicious and beautiful plant. Once again, it goes by the name of licorice root. Licorice root is absolutely delicious. All right. And Masha and Aharon said unto the children of Israel, at even you shall know that Yahweh has brought you out of the land of Egypt. All right. Now the Most High shows Masha, he tells Masha to tell the children of Israel to gather twice as much All right, back on. No picture, no sound. Tawada, appreciate that. Very good. Tawada, thank you for everybody being here. If it cuts out, just give me a moment. It usually just takes me just to reconnect to the Wi-Fi. All right. So if it takes longer than too long, then y'all can contact me. But I just had to reconnect to the Wi-Fi. So we're back on. All right. So, and Thawad, I want to give a salute to Kanaya Wakanawan, man. Very grateful right now. Man, Ashwan, Rob, man, this turned out wonderfully. The water for making my phones into a book. All right. Now I know that they I can't explain this, man. The Most High gave me an idea. He gave me a concept to put two of my phones together so I could be able to use them simultaneously. So this phone powers this phone. All right. So Rashwan Rab at Yapa Creations, she made it to where this book, as y'all see, it says Yahweh Shai. So the sister did that with the gold and the blue. I just think that's so fly. Great job. Great job. And she did it like in less than 10 minutes. All right. So Yapa Creations does wonderful works. All right. So Tawada to Rashwan, Tawada Kanaya, Tawada Aliyah Shabai, Tawada Math. Appreciate you all. All right. Howard Shmarlathan. So let's get back to this. All right. So I'm going to go to the book of Judges, chapter 4. We're going to read verse 4 through chapter 5. Okay. So I'm going to wait for family members to get caught up. And while I wait for family members to get caught up, I'm going to pull up a couple more scriptures. Let's see. Let's see if I can reload this page. And let's see if I can reload this page. I think it's because I was working off the same internet that this is working off of that it caused it to go out. All right. So I know on the Shabbat, you know, everybody's really rocking on Wi-Fi because everybody's teaching on the Shabbat, which that's a good feeling to know that all of your friends and all of your peers are all fellow, you know, teachers and ministers, man. You know, I don't hang out with busters. You know, I hang out with ministers of the Most High, man. And the ministers of the Most High, it turns out that these Negroes are men of war. You know, these are very powerful men. You know, they come together, they help, they teach, you know, beautiful men of the Most High. All right, so let's get back to this. So we're going to start with the book of Judges. Excuse me. And Deborah, the prophetess, the wife of Lipdoth, she judged Israel at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the mount of Ephraim and Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up for judgment. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abonim, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, hath not Yahweh Alahiah of Yash'Allah commanded, saying, go and draw towards Mount Tobar, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and the children of Zebulun, which we are in the land of Zebulun right now. That's pretty cool. And I will draw unto thee to the river of Kishon Sisera, and captain of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand. Let me turn on the screen share for those that's reading with us. Shalom to everybody that's watching. Yeah, y'all know me. I don't give up easy. All praise the Most High. So we're in the book of Judges, chapter 4. We're reading verse 4 through chapter 5, verse 31. All right, so in the book of Judges, chapter 4, I'm going to scoot this over here and we'll get right back to reading. All right. And Barak said unto her, if thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then will I not go. And she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor. For Yahweh shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah with him. Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Masha, had served himself from the Canaanites, severed himself from the Kenites, and pitched his tent into the plain of Zaanim, which is by Kadesh. And they showed Sisera that Barak, the son of Abonim, was gone up to Mount Tobar. And Sisera gathered together all his chariots, even 900 chariots of iron, and all the people that were with him from Haroseth and of the Gentiles unto the river of Kishon. And Deborah said unto Barak, for this is the day in which Yahweh hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not Yahweh gone out before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. And Yahweh discomforted Sisera and all his chariots and all his hosts with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera light down off his chariot and fled away on his feet. The man jumped out of his car and ran away. All right, because Zaquan Barak was coming. I like that. And that is so interesting. Zaquan Barak is in this week's Torah portion. I'm gonna have to give him a call. That is so cool. Judges chapter 4, verse 16. But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the hosts of Harosheth of the Gentiles. And all the hosts of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left. And Sisera fled away on his feet into the tent of Jalil, the wife of Heber, the Canaanite. For there was a place between Jabin, the king of Hazar, and the house of Heber, the Kenite. And Jalil went out to meet Sisera and said unto him, turn in, my lord, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And he said unto her, give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk and gave him drink and covered him. Boy, she put that man to sleep. This is one of my favorite stories. Again, it shows how a woman helped to deliver a king into the hands of Israel. All right. It shows how the women are also warriors and who fought for the children of Israel. All right. So we have Exodus, where we see Exodus chapter 15. Miriam and the women went out before the men of Israel, and they played timbrels and songs of praise that got us amped up. We get to Judges chapter 4. We see Deborah, who was a judge of Israel. We see Jael, which was a woman, not even from our nationality, who was a after he had said unto her, again, he said unto her, stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, if any man doth come near to inquire of thee, say, is there any man here? And say, is there any man here? Thou shalt say, no. Then Jalil, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and with a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it to the ground. And he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out of the tent, came out to meet him, and said unto him, come, and I will show thee the man who thou seekest. And when they came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temples. So Alahiah subdued on that day Jabin, king of Canaan, before the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabal, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabal, king of Canaan. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise the Most High. We're seeing some very mighty examples of women in our culture and our nationality in Israel. All right, let's continue reading. All right, so we're in Judges chapter 5, we're in verse 1. Then sang Deborah, just like Miriam sang. So maybe this is the season for the women to start praising, right? It's time for you women to start singing and praising. Then sang Deborah and Barak the song of Abonim on that day, saying, praise ye Yahweh for the avenging of Israel, when the people willingly offered themselves. Hear, O ye kings, give ear, O ye princes. I, even I, will sing unto Yahweh. I will sing praises to Yahweh, the Alahiah of Israel. Yahweh, when thou wentest out of Seir, when thou marchest out of the field of Edom, the earth trembled, the heavens dropped, the cloud also dropped water. The mountains melted before Yahweh, even that Sinai from before Yahweh, Alahiah of Israel. In the days of Shamgar, the son of Anath, in the days of Jael, the highways were unoccupied, and the travelers walked through byways. The inhabitants of villages ceased. They ceased in Israel until that I, Deborah, arose. That I arose a mother in Israel. All praise. They chose new powers. It says new gods, all right, but I'll use words powers occasionally for gods. They chose new gods, new powers. Then was war in the gates. Was there a shield or spear seen among 40,000 in Israel? My heart is toward the governors of Israel that offered themselves willingly among the people. Bless ye Yahweh. Speak ye that ride on white asses, ye that sit on judgment and walk by the way. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the place of drawers of water, they shall rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his village in Israel, his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of Yahweh go down to the gates. Awake, awake, Deborah, awake, awake. Utter a song, arise, Barak, and let thy captivity captive, thou son of Abinam. Verse 13. All right, let me get back to this real quick. We're in verse 13. We're reading down to verse 31. Then he made him that remaineth have dominion over the nobles among the people. Yahweh made me have dominion over the mighty. Out of Ephraim there was a root against Amalek, after thee Benjamin among the people of Machar came down governors, and out of Zebulun they that handle the pen of the writer. Wow, that's very powerful. And the princes of Issachar were with Deborah, even Issachar, and also Barak. He was sent on foot into the valley, for the divisions of Reuben were great were great thoughts of heart. Verse 16, why abidest thou amongst the sheepfolds to hear the bleating of flocks? For the divisions of Reuben were great searchings of heart. Gilead abode beyond Jordan. And why did Dan remain in ships? Asher continued on the seashore and abode in his breaches. Zebulun and Naphtali were a people that jeopardized. This is amazing. I can't believe this is right here. This is amazing. This is amazing. And I'll tell you why. Where I currently am in the land of Zebulun, these people live in dangerous locations in the sides of the mountains. It looks like their houses are going to slide off the cliffs, but their houses are way flyer than the houses that we have. All right, watch this. It says Zebulun and Naphtali were a people that jeopardized their lives unto death in the high places of the fields. This is amazing. The kings came and fought. Then fought the kings of Canaan and Tanakh by the waters of Megiddo. They took no gain of money. They fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Caesarea. The river of Kishon swept them away. That ancient river, the river Kishon, O my soul, thou hast trodden down strength. Then were the horse hoofs broken by the means of prancings and prancings of the mighty ones. Curse ye Meraz. I don't know who Meraz is, but I have to learn. Curse ye Meraz. I don't even know if Meraz might be a location. I'm going to have to find it out. Curse ye Meraz, said the angel of Yahweh. Curse ye bitterly the inhabitants thereof, because they came not to help of Yahweh, against the mighty. Blessed above women shall Jalil, the wife of Heber, the Kenites. Blessed shall she be above women in the tent. This is the most high blessing of Hemite. Woo! Wow, a Kenite. Well, excuse me. This is the most high blessing of Kenite. All right. This is amazing. He asked water. She gave him milk. She brought forth butter and a lordy dish. She put her hand to the nail and her right hand to the workman's hammer. And with her hammer, she smote Sisera and smote off his head when she had pierced and struck him through his temples. At her feet, he bowed, he fell, he lay down. At her feet, he bowed, he fell. Where he bowed, there he fell down dead. The mother of Caesarea looked out at the window and cried at the lattice, "Why is his chariot so long coming? Why tarry the wheels of his chariot?" This says that Caesarea's mama was crying for him. "What's taking my baby so long to get home?" Most High ain't no joke. Her wise ladies answered her, "Yea." She returned, answered to herself, "Have they not sped? Have they not divided the prey? To every man a damsel or two, to Caesarea a prey of diverse colors, a prey of diverse colors of needlework, diverse colors of needlework on both sides, meats of the necks of them that take the spoil. So let all thine enemies perish, O Yahweh, but let them that love him be as the sun when it goeth forth in the mights. And the land had rest for 40 years. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I have a lot of studying to do. All right. I've got a lot of studying to do. I'm really just now realizing something, that first of all, this is a whole song of praise to righteous women that warred and that fought for our nation. I've got a lot of studying to do. So I'm going to be going through Flavius Josephus, which is one of my favorite books. All right. I'm going to be going through Flavius Josephus, and I'm going to be learning the names. You know, it's another good book to go through at this time frame, another historical document. Look for another historical document to go through these names. All right. So I'm going to be studying the book of Judges chapter 4 and Judges chapter 5. Judges chapter 5 is a song of praise of the woman. All right. Which I just think is amazing. All right. It's a Kenite woman. Let me look this up real quick. Let me finish reading, and then after I finish reading, we'll look it up. All right, so we're going to go to now the book of, we're getting through this pretty fast. All right, we're going to go through the book of Matthew chapter 14. All right, Matthew chapter 14. All right, let me pull it up real quick. Where are we going? We're going to the book of Matthew chapter 14. All right, we're going to read 22 through 33. All right, Matthew chapter 14, KJV, BLB. If anybody's curious, the reason why I say KJV is for King James Version. BLB stands for Blue Letter Bible. Blue Letter Bible is the website that we've been reading from, that I've been showing you for some time now. I've been using it for a while. Once my elders showed it to me, I was like, yo, this is fly. All right. So, but there's other Bible resources such as Bible Hub, such as the Step Bible. Okay. There are other Bible concordances and references you can use. I like to use Blue Letter Bible just because it's really clear, it's easy, it's definitive. Once you see it, you're like, oh, that's it, man. That's pretty easy. It's right there. All right, so let's get started on this real quick. We're going to start with the book of Matthew chapter 14. I'm going to turn back on the screen share. We're going to start with chapter 14, verse 22 through verse 13. All right, Matthew chapter 14. Let's start at verse 22. And straightway Yahushua constrained his disciples to get into the ship and to go before him on the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when evening was come, he was alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit." And they cried out of fear. But straightway Yahushua spake unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid." And Peter answered him and said, "Allahia, if it be thou, bid me to come unto thee on the water." And he said, "Come." And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Yahushua. But when he saw the winds boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, "Allahia, save me." And immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, "O thou of little faith, Wherefore didst thou doubt? This is a verse. If anybody knows the sister Amath Banyamian, please give this to the sister Banath Banyamian. All right. Math Banyamian from the house of Karatazaya. This is one of her favorite verses at one point in time, you know, and she said it. She was like, you know, as soon as I start sinking because I lose faith. That's going to be one of my, and I was like, and then, you know, when she started bugging, I'd be like, yo, what's up with your verse? What's up with your faith verse? So if you know anybody that needs help with their faith, Yahweh Shai says, why did you doubt me? Why did you start to doubt? All right. We can't doubt just because we're starting to sink. And one of my beautiful sisters, Rashwan, she told me to go on my mission. She was like, you know, go on your mission and finish your mission. Basically, she told me, don't come back until I get done with my job. And that was so powerful. You know, I was a little bit discouraged, and I was like, you know what? You know, I'm a bit discouraged. And she was like, come back with your shield or on it. I was like, yahoo! What a wonderful statement to make. Matthew chapter 14, verse 29. Then he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked in the water to go to Yahushua. But when he saw the winds boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Allahia, save me. And immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they were coming to the ship, the wind ceased. And when they were in the ship, and when they that were in the ship came and worshiped him, then they that were in the ship came and worshiped him, saying, of truth, it is the Son of Allahia. And when they were gone over, they came into the land. Oh, wait, are we supposed to be stopping right there? Yeah, we're supposed to stop right there. It's 22 to 33. All right, 22 to 33. All right. So chapter 20 of the book of Matthew, chapter 14, starting at verse 22. All right, to verse 22 to verse 33. We see our master, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. He goes and separates himself, which is a good thing, which maybe I need to go up in these mountains, it's so crazy because I'm in the mountains. I'm in the land of Zebulon. Maybe I just need to pack up a tent, pack up a couple mats and go sleep in the woods for a couple days. That would be amazing, man. Pack up some garments, go sleep in the woods for a couple days, a couple nights. Ask the Most High to bless me, to keep me. See what type of power come back in. So we see the Messiah, he goes and separates himself. And when he comes and separates himself, here's something I think is amazing. The Most High told us that the things that he did, we're going to do more. Peter walked on water. All right. Peter walked on water. This also means that Israel, we're going to walk on water. The Messiah told us the things that he did, we're going to do greater. All right. There's going to be a special highway that Israel's going to be able to pass through and nobody else. All right. Yahweh Shai, he lets us know that we should have faith in him. We should not fail. We should not falter. We should not waver. Don't be afraid. He's going to be our strength. All right. So I encourage everybody. Shalom, Kanai, Wakanawan, Yahweh Shemar, Alatha, Shabbat Shalom to the saints. Shabbat Shalom, Lahabayathian of the house of Karatazaya. And why isn't, I don't see everybody on here. All right. Man, I guess some people just don't need to learn anymore, huh? We all need to learn. All right. So let me not talk like that. All right. So we all praise the Most High, man. That was our Torah portion reading. All right. Very quick. All right. That doesn't mean that our study is over, though. I wanted to get through the Torah portion reading, and I want to do it kind of quickly so we can go over some of these other details. All right. Some of these other details that are here and that have been here for quite some time. We just may not have known of them. OK, so I'm going to pull up some information and I'm going to come back with a different teaching. And with that being said, that's going to be the end of this week's Torah portion reading of the Torah portion. If anybody has any questions on it, or if you're not sure on something that you heard or something that you read, get back with me. All right. Hit me back. OK, and we'll politic on it. All right. I'm going to pull up some new windows, close these windows down, start up a new StreamYard. I think we got that done in a pretty good time, in about an hour and a half. That's pretty good. All right. That's pretty good. An hour and a half. All right. So with that being said, Anya Hablakam, Yabrakam Yahweh, Bashar Mashiach Yahweh Shai, Most I bless you. I'll keep you, I'll make his face to shine upon you. All right. Peaceful Sabbath. If you need me, this is a good time to call me. Okay. I'm going to be looking up some information before I come back online. Isaiah 8:20, to the law and to the testimony. Shalom.